Alright, well, hello everybody. So you're probably looking at the thumbnail and you're like, well, what's the major announcement? What's the major announcement about? Like, what are you planning to do? Are you planning to join the military and get into the next 20-year World War III that we're about to experience? I don't actually believe that, but you understand. What's the major announcement about? Well, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to give you some backstory behind this. I'm going to um, I'm going to just play out what I'm thinking, what I'm going to do, what I expect other people to do, which is not very much. So, anyways, so I've had gender dysphoria for a while. Now, it hasn't been very pronounced. Like, I wouldn't say it's caused me clinical stress or impairment, but it has kind of substantially impacted my life, and it's kind of come on and off, and now it's starting to get worse as time goes on, and if I feel like if I don't address it, then it's going to start impairing my life pretty soon. So basically, I'm assigned male at birth. I am planning to transition into, holy shit, I am planning on transitioning to a woman um, here pretty soon. Well, over the next couple of years. This is a decision that I've made recently. That's why I've changed my display name on Discord and Roblox to Astra, which is a very, very cool name. It means to the stars in Latin. It kind of describes me. I feel like it describes what I want to do in life. I want to reach as high as possible. I want to learn the most things. You know, I want to reach for the stars essentially. But that's going to be kind of my new name is Astra. Now, if anybody calls me by Trip or goes by, like, if they say he, him, or calls me by Trip, that is absolutely fine. I don't care either way. Um, I'm not going to. So my family doesn't know about this, and I'm probably not going to tell them for a long time. Um, and what I'm planning to do is to quietly transition. Um, so, like, I'm gonna start growing long hair and make sure that I don't grow any facial hair and things like that. And over time, I'm gonna start building up these things until I reach basically a full transition to the other gender. I plan on getting surgery. If I still feel this way after a couple of years, because I want to wait a couple of years before I do anything drastic, and the reason why is because I have a history of being in and out of certain, I wouldn't say groups, but we'll just say labels. I don't know, just certain groups of people, and I've been in and out of them like after a couple of years. And my fear is that I might decide to detransition after transitioning for a couple of years. And if I've already had surgery or I've already taken estrogen, then it's going to be irreversible. I'm not going to be able to do anything about it. Right? It'll be too late. So that's my plan. Is that I'm going to keep my facial hair clean. I'm probably going to get rid of all my body hair, and I'm going to um, I'm going to grow long hair, and I'm going to use like conditioner and things like that, and that's going to be the start of my transition into being more like a girl. Now, I'm not going to get into definition requirements, but essentially my view is that, and I know I'm going to be confusing the two. I'm not going to say that you can fully become a woman as somebody that goes on estrogen and takes hormone therapy. What I'm going to say is that a true woman is somebody with two X chromosomes that's born with a vagina with breasts, and a transgender version is kind of like that mocktail version, where woo, that scared me. Where it kind of is similar, but it's not. it's not the real deal. So if you want my opinion on that, there you go. I just didn't want to be asked this in the future by toxic trolls because they're going to be like, what is a woman? I just defined it for you. It's somebody that has two X chromosomes. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to get as close to that feature as possible. And I want to be perceived as somebody that has two X chromosomes. That doesn't make me somebody with two X chromosomes. You understand? So, yeah. So Astra is my new name. That's my definition of what I'm trying to become. I'm not going to fully be a woman, right? I'm just going to sound like a woman. I'm going to be basically everything that a woman is. But it's not the same thing. You know what I mean? So I'm planning on doing estrogen maybe a year or two if things go well. If I want to continue to being transgender after a year or two, I will start taking estrogen. And by maybe 4 to 5 years, if I still want to be transgender, then that's when I'm going to start doing major surgeries. This is a good time to, and it might be even after that. I'm planning on paying for surgeries myself. I'm going to be living dirt cheap, as you know. That's part of my minimalist lifestyle. And so spending a couple $1,000s on things like surgeries won't really matter in the scheme of things, right? And this is 4 to 5 years from now, when I'm independent, off of college, when I have large sums of money. Insurance, I'm guessing, won't cover it, and that's fine with me. I'll pay out of pocket. Um, but this is all going to be me. This is going to be about me, and my parents are not going to have anything to do with it. And as far as it goes with my parents, they can continue to call me Trip, and he, him as well. They can even disagree with me. Any of my friends or my parents can disagree with me about this, and that's fine, as long as they don't constantly bring it up that they disagree with it, or B, are just outright hostile towards it, and hostile towards me as a person because I'm pursuing this kind of goal. Do you see the difference? Because, say, if my parents threw me out because of this, like they realized this and they threw me out, then that's when we go into the conditional love argument that I made a while back ago, right? Which it shows their true colors. It shows that they are not willing to accept me for a difference that really doesn't bother anybody else. It's really none of their business to begin with. I mean, even like they can disagree with it. All they want. They can continue to call me Trip. They can continue to call me their son, he, him, my parents, whatever. But those are the two requirements I have for any of my friends or my parents. A, do not consistently bring it up in disagreement, and B, do not be hostile towards me because of it. Those are the two conditions that I have. I already know that people like ZZ are going to have a field day with this one because, well, he's just generally an asshole, and he has no life at all. He probably doesn't even have a job, if I'm going to be honest with you. He's probably one of those NEETs. But enough said about him. I don't really care what he says. He'll probably comment in this video for all I care. I don't know. I know he's going to have a field day with this one, but I don't really give a shit anyways. I'm kind of out of Sword Fights on the Heights community. God, I'm so tired of this bullshit. I'm so tired of, like, going around and I constantly hear those trailers. I'm gonna blow one up. Where are they? So anyways, I'm going to get into kind of the DSM-5e things, and I'm going to go over some of the characteristics commonly associated with gender dysphoria and kind of explain the backstory about why I decided to make this transition. So, do I have extreme or severe gender dysphoria? No, I have mild to moderate gender dysphoria, but my main concern is that it will get more impairing and it will get worse over time. What I don't want to hear is that I'm doing this because I'm mentally unhealthy. And that's not actually true. Yes, I have a serious mental illness called bipolar disorder, and I do have a couple neurodivergency conditions, But it's not fair to me to say that because I'm pretty content with life in general 98% of the time. Like 98% of the time, I have absolutely no issues. I have my bipolar disorder. I'm in a euthymic state, so I'm not experiencing any mood symptoms, right? I do have autism, which I am not going to lie is probably a very major contributing factor to this. But it's not severe, it doesn't cause any problems for the most part. So I don't think it's really fair in this case to say that it's because, I'm one of those mentally ill purple-haired, overweight, dyed hair. That's not the case here, right? Is like I'm normal weight. I don't have all sorts of piercings, dyed hair, so I don't want you guys to get that image. Um, I hate that stereotypes gets on my nerves, and when I do transition, I plan to exercise my ass off. If estrogen causes weight gain, which I've heard it does, I'm going to make sure that I'm thin or underweight. I've always wanted to be thin instead of muscular, which is kind of a feminine thing. And I'm going to make sure I don't become one of these dyed-haired, piercing, nose ring, liberal transgenders. I'm going to make sure I'm going to be a hot transgender because I shaved. And I'm going to be honest with you all, if I grew out my hair, right? If I grew up my hair, I already look like a feminine boy without like the hair growth, right? I already look pretty feminine without like a beard and sideburns. I already look pretty feminine without it, and so this transition could arguably make me a lot more attractive as a result, and I'm not going to lie about that. So, anyways, those were some sidetracks. Now for the backstory. I started having like feelings of gender dysphoria, I would say, in middle school that were probably at the subconscious level. In high school, they were probably subconscious too. And then I started going along in college, they started getting a little bit more noticeable. And they've gotten pretty noticeable over the last 6 to 12 months. Again, I wouldn't say that it causes huge like disruptions in my life, but the thing is, not yet, right? And it would probably be considered an unspecified gender dysphoria under the DSM-5 or the ICD-11 because it hasn't reached that clinical impairment level yet. Um, so yeah, I just don't want it to, right? And I don't want it to kind of impact my life in that way. When I'm studying hard in college, I have a job. Let's just say another mental disorder relating to having a beard, having, male parts is not really something that I want to do. And so I think this transition would really help prevent those kinds of dysphoric feelings to begin with. Right? So some of these common like symptoms that I've had are um so I would say that I do not like the fact that I have male parts, a beard, like sideburns, armpit hair, chest hair, stuff like that. And I am sorry if this might seem a little bit not safe for work, but it's basically impossible to give kind of a general definition of what I'm struggling through without kind of going through this. So that's the first major pivot towards not really being satisfied with being a male or assigned male at birth. Um, so another would be that I feel like I relate more to women and their feelings and their their expressions. So that I play violent games like this one, and I'm not very feminine in that way, but I really do hate things that are traditionally associated with men, like war or like gunshots or things like that, like violence in general. And I'm sure men hate that too. Like nobody really likes that, but it's more associated with men than it is woman. And I really hate that. Like, I'll watch a lot of cop body cam videos, and I feel very, very against violence and against. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these ACAB, like, no violence is acceptable people, right? Like, I understand self defense is a thing and why some of these people get shot, and, I understand that. I understand war is brutal, but sometimes it happens. But I am, in general, a very, like, anti-violence, like, buff, kind of person. I just want to be thin. I want to be more, th- um, okay. I just want to be more thin. I don't really want to relate to those kinds of things that masculinity has traditionally presented itself as over the years. So another one would be, I'd rather be, um, let's see. Yeah, those are, I guess I would say that those are the main ones. Is that, I feel like more like, wanting woman, traits and features. I kind of want to be treated more like a woman and perceived as a woman than a man. And that yeah, so I don't like some of the masculinity stuff that's associated. I want to be perceived as a woman, even though, like, he, him, and trip is fine. And I want to wear, like, different clothing, and I want to have autonomy, female autonomy. That's a big one too. That's probably one of the main ones, is that I want female autonomy, and I'm willing to um, have surgeries to kind of make it so that it's as accurate to that as possible. And like I said, I am going to be very thin. I'm going to make sure that I don't get overweight or gain weight. Right now, my weight status is high normal, so I'm a little bit above average where I should be, but not even overweight on the BMI scale. So I'm a little bit over what I should be, but I'm still at a healthy range. And I do plan on consistently losing weight until then. So like I said, it's going to be a very kind of casual transition. And I feel like a lot of my friends already know this, but if you see my avatar as being a woman's on Roblox, or you see, I mean, many of my friends already know this. That's the reason why. I even put it in my bio that I was thinking about becoming transgender. I will now officially say that yes, I do in fact probably want to be one, but there's going to be significant. First of all, I'm going to be very fair in the way that I try to. I mean, listen, guys. All you have to know is I'm an Asmongold watcher, okay? So you don't have to worry about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not some sort of Hassan fan. I watch Hassan. He's fucking insane. I watch Asmongold. That's all you need to know. All right. So I'll be very fair about the whole thing. You can call me Trip, whatever you want. Trip is still a pretty cool name, and it's not a name that I'll, get offensive at. If my name was like Joe, I would have huge problems with that. I've never wanted to be like a Joe. A Joe would suck, right? That would suck. Um, so yeah. Um, I mean, there are some male things that I still like. For example, I like STEM. I've always liked STEM more than I have like. I've liked both women and men hobbies. So I like photography. I like gardening. I kind of like exploring nature. I love animals, like baby animals. So those are more feminine. But I also like kind of some, I like some um, like I like some guy things too, like STEM, like engineering, construction, welding, plumbing, more male dominated fields. So I would say when it comes to hobbies, I'm a very neutral person, and I just want to learn as much as I possibly can. That's the type of person I am when it comes to that. Anyways, I think this has about covered it up. Um, yeah, I think this is about covered everything that I've wanted to talk about. I talked about, I've talked about a lot of things here. The main point that I want you to take away is that don't worry about it. I'm an Asmongold viewer, okay? So I know. I know the game. I know how it works. Alright, so see you all. Bye.